Hello and welcome as it is the first day of March 2018. My name is Derek. Everything you do within your own risk, own reward. And let's look back at Guppy as the month was starting in February on the 60-minute time frame. I trade this via the daily, but we'll move this market on the hourly. And it was in a downtrend, a price that was at like 10,000, already down half its value. Okay. So what I decided to do was look to get into it, wait for the price to decline a bit, and that's what happened. Getting in at the low 4,000s on the first day of February. The market would continue to decline though. So another trade would come in shortly as the market moves into the fourth. I could sell for break even in here, or close or a little under. I didn't. And there we have another transaction. That was another buy order at around the 3,200 variable. And the prices continue to go down and up. So it looks like a good buy. Oh, the price goes really high. And there we go. A sell order comes in. Now I could have bought back in here and then resold this. I most likely would have seen it given that it was 9 p.m. Eastern time, but I most likely definitely no, I didn't buy it back because I know for sure I didn't. I could have bought it back, and then if I did, I probably would have looked to sell maybe up towards here. So instead, I seen the market move more and then just move and not do much. Had this rally up here, I missed it. But I needed to buy back in order to even attempt to go after this rally. And even if I had a sell order in here, given where the market moved in here, where I looked to put a pierce below, I most likely would have missed this as it was, because it's likely my sell order would have been a little higher than the 4,700 handle, which is where it topped. But then the market continues to go down, and now I got my buyback. So when I sold here, I was able to buy back at a much cheaper price at 3,200. So now we move into the 20th day of February and the price declines. It's going down pretty decent right now. Market's going down, and now this number here is a very interesting one at 28.54, because that's what I calculate my break-even price to be, at around 28.53 actually. And that's because there's going to be one more transaction that will take place as the market moves up and down, and miss this sell order. But I didn't have one there though. Oh, but one happened just recently, and I did have one there. So how do you do? So therefore, what do I do next? I look to buy back. Where? Well, I've looked at the chart, 3,500. That was a pretty big area of previous resistance. So selling at 5, buying back at 35. Okay, that can be nice and profitable. So now I have to look at where do I sell again. So either the market next goes back to 35 and I buy, or the market will continue its rally. And in a situation like this, I'm going to change the time frame over to like maybe the daily even. And what's the next key level? Well, it's up here towards 7,000. Now, it's not the greatest of sales at 7,000 on 5, but it's okay. 2,000 is 40%. So it's basically the minimum I would be looking for. 7,000 would be a hit of 2x hit support on January the 11th and January the 6th. It would also be the breakdown resistance from January the 18th. So as a trader, I would have two sellers in, one for where my next target would be, which is in this area. And number two would be, of course, the sell order that I'd be looking for maybe some sort of insane level. I'll just put a random number in like 7 or 8 times higher, and if it hits, it hits. It usually never will, but just in case, what's the difference of me having a sell order and an insane number just holding my tokens in the balance? Well, the difference is if it does happen to go way up there and it's in my balance, I won't make a trade. Where if it is in the sell order and it goes up to something like say it's at 30,000 where I got a sell order in, oh, if it goes there, then I'll be happy to sell at that point. So that's the basis to the buy low, sell high strategy. I've been talking about it for a little while, but not too much recently. And I did mention that I made a risk reward play on a code, and let me just show you the how I've got the sell orders and buy orders set up on a mathematical level. The code is THETA, which I bought yesterday. It's pretty much at the same price that I bought it at now. And what I want to do is I want to sell 20.9% of what I bought at around 2,900 Satoshi. And that would get me back 38.2% of what I originally put in. And then the sell order again at 45, 71, 11.8. These are all numbers I suspect to be key numbers based on the movements in Fibonacci. The 2,900's previous high. And the final one, this is what I talk about here. Just put your last one in for just a huge, massive number. Each one of these are step progressions, 29, 45, 71, and around 12. And this one would just be out of hand. And the prediction from the medium whom talked about this, and I do look at woo-woo stuff, open-minded. I've actually met people very good in it before. But just like I showed you with Guppy, if I sell at 2,900, I'm going to look to buy it back. Everything that I sell, I'm looking to try to buy back at a much cheaper price. As it shows, if I were to just make 2 sales, I would already get my profit just by selling those. But I want to make a game of this to gain as many coins as possible. The intent not to profit Bitcoin, only Theta. But before we talk more into it, if this market just keeps going down from here, I gotta buy continue strategy. Because what I don't want to do is see the price lose a decent amount, and then if I sell, it has to go like super high to start to profit. Or if I sell at good entry or sell points, that's actually going to be for a break even or maybe a loss. So what I'll do is, and this is all mathematically calculated, is buy around 17%, and my calculator came up to 17.1 at around the price of 1,000. That's what I put in. So for every 10 or every 0.01 or every 1 Bitcoin rather, you put in 0.171 Bitcoin in at the next buy. That's what I'm doing, and that means every single time it goes lower, well, I can buy more, which will cost less. So each time, this would be higher than the next percentage and the next after that. So if it goes down to say 600, I might buy in for 13% of what I originally put in. So I'm limiting my risk on any major catastrophic possible situations. So there's no plan to trade this via Litecoin unless market conditions allow for such, which the most obvious one is that the exchange that this can be traded on at some place has a good Litecoin exchange, and in that case, for sure. But because I'll be playing just only one code on the exchange I'm using this, it'll be very easy to do it via Bitcoin. So in a situation of selling an order, if I sell this, 100% of the Bitcoins that I sell it for would be placed in a buy order, and it would most likely be for a price area under 1,800 Satoshi. If I sell for 4,500, I would be buying it back for under 3,000. And then, of course, furthermore, higher lows each time after each sale. If you get to a situation where you get like major sellers in a row, like say this thing just pops up from like where it is now in the 1,500s to say 7,500, like instantly, then I probably wouldn't look to buy until maybe 3,000 or 25-ish or so. And then just start buying them all back at that point when you have suddenly major moves high, because Major up moves can oftentimes lead to major down moves that can thereafter follow. So that is the strategy in the trading. And again, I do this with so many different codes. I showed 2 in the 2-minute, or 2.5 minute, in the 4-minute video this morning. Ion, I think, was another one that I had sell for me that I didn't talk about. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, Ion, it's up like 67%. I ended up having a sell up somewhere up here. Okay, well, I can tell you where the somewhere was. It was actually at 35,000, and I actually had another sell order up here to this previous high that didn't hit. So this is a case where you sell, you win, you lose. I mean, I'm selling for higher than I bought it for. That's all good and dandy, but the price is higher. Now, why didn't I sell up here? I mean, I normally would have. Yeah, I probably would have if I came up and I noticed it was around 55. 35, then 55, that's over the 50% mark from last sale. That's really the in or around the key numbers that I look for. But if I'm placing sell orders, I want to make sure that I want to take full advantage of any major rises higher. But when I looked at this on a shorter term time frame, let's go to the 50-minute move. The when did I? Yeah, I woke up down here and I put a sell order. I had a sell order a little above this. It was literally like 60,000 or 59 high. It was literally up here. I put my sell order back like 55. That's what I did. So that's where I stand. Or I have to wait for this to fall back down to like the 27 area, 25 even, to buy back. So that's the game shell. That's the game in a nutshell. So again, when I look at this here, how many of these can I own? In the sense of, is it possible that maybe I could like double or triple the amount of thetas that I own? Maybe quad 5, 6 exit? And when you do that, that means your entry price on average becomes so cheap. And then a lot of the big things for these markets, and I think using UNV Unbreakable is a perfect example. THC, I can see that right now. That's a perfect example. Hey, it's up a little bit since I last bought. But when you look at this, when markets have these major lift moves up, it's all at the point where, okay, I have to like just really sell a lot. And then you're going to be looking to buy it all back in here. But I might be like, ooh, okay, so maybe I'll take this amount of Bitcoin and move it to my Trezor, and then we'll just go from there. So that's probably what I'll end up doing when I see amazingly high sell levels. But you need to see moves of this type of magnitude where you're seeing 20, 30x plus gains for that to be the case. All right. Thank you for tuning in and have yourself a magnificent day. Bye-bye.